An exciting reason to come.
I think it's scary, so I was just going there, so I didn't apply. I know it's a great place, it's just, I'm not, going to go to school. Yeah, that's kind of,
Hey, how are you? Good.
right now we've been accepted into Villanova, Holy Cross, we found out Sunday. Yeah, we're going together. St. Mike's, I'm going to forget some. Providence. The one back there.
Buddy, thank you very much for coming out this evening. At this time, I'd like to call the Board of Education meeting, March 19, 2019, at the Sarah Noble Intermediate School to order. If you'd be kind enough to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and a brief moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you. Okay, just before we get started, a point of clarification here. To my left, your right, is Ms. Alicia DeCorpio. She is the acting superintendent. Our interim superintendent is away for this week, and she has gracefully stepped up to the plate for us, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So with that being said, it's now our recognition portion of the agenda, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So I'd like to welcome up to the front for the CMEA Northern Regional Middle School Music Festival award recipients, Mr. Gregory, Mr. Polhemus, and Ms. Diane Beddoes. I'm going to ask that they speak a little bit about what the award means, and then we'll be calling up the students to receive their awards.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about what's involved here. So you have to imagine yourself as a 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old person who is given a piece of music that they've never seen before, and they are preparing this piece of music to be played in front of two anonymous judges that they've never met. They go into a room, door closes, and there they are. So they play this piece of music that they've worked on for months, and then they do a little bit of sight reading. They read a piece of music that they've never seen before. They play a scale or two, then they leave. So they wait maybe a couple of days, and they get a score to see if they made it into the festival. So can you imagine that as a 12, 13, 14-year-old person taking on that kind of pressure and taking on that kind of responsibility? That's what we're dealing with over here. These kids and others who also went to the audition but didn't make it, they took this responsibility on, and it's just amazing to me to see the type of people we are fostering in the school district, that take that responsibility on and go and run with it. So they achieved a score, and now they're in the Northern Regional Music Festival, and they're going to be performing this weekend in Wethersfield, right? Mm-hmm. In Wethersfield, and so what happens at the festival is that clinicians are brought in to lead the chorus, the band, and orchestra, and jazz band, and the kids do very intensive rehearsals for like 4 hours on Friday, and then 3 hours on Saturday morning, then they put on a concert, so boom. And we're here to honor those kids tonight. And I'm going to introduce you to Diana Beddoes, who's going to introduce the choral students.
Would the chorus students please stand up and walk forward? We had 6 auditioned, 5 were accepted, and 1 might have the flu tonight, so we only have 4 here. I know. So for the record, Miss Hannah Halliker was also asked to participate, but she couldn't for this evening. Okie dokes, so let's see who we have first. So Hannah Halliker is not here, Mr. Lawson, so why don't I take number 2? This one looks
How
like a
about that?
winner.
That looks like a
That looks
winner
like
to
a winner.
me.
How about Leah Lawson? This is Leah Lawson.
No, we're good.
All right, so I'll get them on a shaking hand. Thank you.
Okay, and who do we have next, Mr. Lawson? Let's take a look. Why, it's Riley Mann.
Thank you.
Great. And our third contestant, Dia. Come on forward. Lovely. And this must be Cassandra Williams. Okay, Cassandra. I wouldn't be myself unless I said we have a coaching session tomorrow after school.
I'm going to do the 7th and 8th grade band and orchestra and jazz band. So, Irene Chen, is Irene here? No. Charlie Greiner. She's not here tonight. Evan Klimowicz. Stella Malky. Young Min. Ashton. Aiden Smith. Hank Runyon. Andrew Dvorak. Brandon Zhang. And Ryan Zamiti.
So I have the honor to give these awards to my two sixth graders that made it in, and I just want to say how proud I am as 11 and 12-year-olds to audition against 6th, 7th, and 8th-year-olds from the northern region of Connecticut and have the talent to be part of this band. It's just something that I'm astounded by. So, Gabe Larson. Mayan Rosenberg.
Thank you to all the students and their families for coming out tonight. We're incredibly proud of our arts here in New Milford and our music department, and we wish you well at the festival. We know you'll do a great job, and we're looking forward to hearing all about your performance. Congratulations. Okay, next up, we're incredibly excited to announce that the Piper magazine, our own New Milford High School paper, a magazine actually, for lack of a better term, has won the award of Superior from the National Council of Teachers of English. This is not a very easy award to achieve. We're extremely proud of the high school's efforts. I know there's only one level above this award, and I know I can speak for the teachers in saying that they are really rooting to attain this award within the next year or so. So I'd like to welcome up Michelle Minto. We'd like to congratulate you first by honoring you with this award and a little something to make your staff meetings extremely productive and exciting, so you can make it to the next level and celebrate where you are.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Michelle, would you like to say anything?
Sure. So, do you want to take our picture? Yeah, so I'm Michelle Minto. I'm an English teacher at the high school, and I advise the Piper Literary Magazine. Every year, we solicit entries from the entire school body, or the student body. We ask for our help from all of the teachers all over the school to get as many submissions, written submissions that cover topics from science to history, all kinds of good stuff. And the NCTE, the National Council of Teachers of English, is really looking for high quality writing, original ideas, fresh layout, and apparently we nailed it on all fronts. But I am really proud of the students. Not only do they have, they make me so proud. The magazine is full of beautifully written pieces that also have something powerful to say. And our students they grow into these very powerful women and men, and they take pride in what they have to say, and they say it flawlessly. So I'm very proud of them and excited for our next edition.
Can I just say thank you? Thank you to Michelle. She does amazing job getting it all together and pulling it from all ends of the school and beyond. And we really appreciate her. And Pat Silverman, a lot of support from there, and our secretary, Jane Cornelius at the high school. And our principal, Greg's here. We get a lot of support, so that helps. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, so I just need 1 minute because we have to call up the English rep. Is she here today? Would you like to call her up?
Tracy?
Is Tracy with us? There she is. So Tracy comes to us from Ingersoll every month. A staff member or teacher is recognized within our system, and Their names are drawn, and thanks to Ingersoll, the teacher who has the sticker when they open up their box, once they're called up, gets to drive away in a...
brand new 2019 Equinox.
So we're very grateful and excited that teachers and staff members are provided the opportunity here, so thank you.
Sure.
So the first person we'd like to recognize tonight could not be here with us, and that's Cindy Bonnell from Sarah Noble. What was said about Cindy is that she's passionate about teaching each one of her students. She goes out of her way to motivate and help them all. And as a staff member who works with Cindy, I say thanks, Mrs. Bonnell. So congratulations to Cindy. Is Maria Brito here? Come on up, come on down, Maria. Come on. Maria is from Scotticoke Middle School, and these are the kind words that were said about Mrs. Brito. Mrs. Brito is a kind teacher who always encourages her students to try their best. When we don't get something, she doesn't get frustrated at us. Instead, she takes her time to help us meet our academic goals. Besides that, she's a funny teacher that can make students laugh during a lesson. From Hill and Plain School, Maureen Dunkerton. Maureen couldn't be here with us tonight, but I'd like to read the kind words that were said about Maureen. Maureen goes above and beyond daily. She collaborates amazingly with others and is a flexible thinker. She is kind and respectful to students and staff. She holds students to high standards, and students respect her and work to meet her needs. So congratulations, Maureen. From New Milford High School, we have paraeducator Katie Fossey. Is Katie here tonight? Katie, come on down. Katie, these are the words that were said about you. In her work as a paraeducator, Katie goes out of her way to make sure every student need is met. She is a true asset to New Milford High School. Is Charlene Kirkwood with us? Charlene, come on down. Charlene, this is what was said about you. Charlene is the go-to person for the food services department. She's always professional and responsive to requests for assistance. I know you are when we call. So thank you. And from Northville, Ms. Virginia Quinn Mooney. Come on down, Virginia. Virginia, these are the words that were said about you. Uh-oh. All good. Virginia always finds the positive in everything and shares that nature with both students and staff. It is a pleasure to work with her at Northville Elementary School. So, Mr. Lawson will now be handing out to you a box that contains a special item inside of it, but only one box contains a smiley face sticker. If you receive that box, throw your hands up high, because you'll be driving the Ingersoll car for a month.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, one more large round of applause for everyone. Congratulations.
Okay, and it, oh, did you want to say something?
Yes, I would.
Oh.
Okay. I'd like to take a moment. March is Board of Education Appreciation Month. And I know I could only speak for myself, but I wish to speak for the entire central office cabinet and even maybe the community at large to thank you personally for your service. My work with you has shown how dedicated you are. I see all the time you put in, and I'm truly grateful for all that you do for the students, families, and the community in New Milford. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, meetings, I mean, we will have a very, we'll have a very short recess. Please join us for some refreshments. Congratulations to all of you out there, and thank you very much for everybody coming.
I don't need the rest. I just want one. Because I'm thinking, like, have you ever come to Scattercook to the 8th graders and been like, get excited for writing?
I won't walk in that.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know how to respond to that. I'm just trying to think. Okay, that's fine.
No, I know.
Yeah. They put in,
Just my own. My own.
Sorry.
We can step away from
Well, now you know. Be gone forever. I just learned your name. You let me know. Thank you. That's why I've just been so sad. I can put the earth. I don't understand. Like, not surprised that you.
They'll read it all next to you.
Oh, thank you so much. All right.
No worries. I don't want it. It's okay. Okay, not a big deal. I can promote it. I just want you want. Hey, Queen.
You were the face of the Piper. Beautiful face.
You're all beautiful faces.
Hug. I gave her a hug and I scared her. Lizzie, did you know that you can put in things as an alumni in the Piper? Every couple of years they put
We'll reconvene.
We'll try to read.
All right, at this point, we will entertain public comment.
We don't have anybody as of now.
Yes, because nobody signed up. If anybody would like to speak from the audience, you're more than welcome to. Okay, thank you very much for that. And next, we have the PTO report. Always good to hear from you.
Hello. With any luck, the start of spring will soon bring some more days of sunshine and warmer temps. The K through 8 school PTOs all wrapped up very successful book fairs. SNIS and SMS PTO both did flowergrams for Valentine's and St. Patrick's Day. The students really enjoy this activity, and it helps to promote kindness in the schools. Hill and Plain PTO and Northville PTO hosted very nice dinners for the teachers on the day of conferences. The teachers were very appreciative. They did not have to worry about dinner on that long, busy day. NES, HPS, and SNIS will hold family science nights this week. Sarah Noble is hosting authors for all grades and is also working on a Kids Creation art fundraiser. The Scatacoke PTO had an outstanding sold-out showing of Captain Marvel at Bank Street Theater. The book fair chair decided to try something new and enlisted student volunteers. There were many students who were happy to participate. They earned raffle tickets for volunteering. The grand prize is a Kindle. The high school PTO is running a couple of fun fundraisers. The students will participate in Penny Wars and Flock Your Teachers' Rooms. The Summer Camp and Activities Expo was well attended, and PTO has earned more funds towards scholarship for graduating seniors. PTO has 2 board members working very hard to inform parents about the budget and to promote voter turnout for referendum time. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you very much. And student reps.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
If I say good night, that means we're all leaving, right? The Math Honor Society is having their Pi Day Carnival tomorrow after school. They do this every year. Usually we try and do it on Pi Day. This year it couldn't work out that way because we tried to do it with the FBLA's kickball game. So.
And leading to that, the FBLA's kickball tournament is tomorrow in the arena.
We believe it starts at 5 or 6. I cannot remember at the moment, but it's usually a big hit. A lot of the students like to come in and see that. No Vape Day is on Thursday. The SAD students and the CNA students who are part of HOSA are hosting a No Vape Day to spread awareness throughout the school about what vaping does to the body and hope that people can pledge to stay away from it.
Next week is our Spring Spirit Week, and with that, the Spring Pep Rally is on Friday in the arena also.
The All School Musical Footloose opens next Friday. Box office has been open for a while. Seats are being filled very quickly, so if you guys want to see it, I would recommend buying tickets soon. I believe if you buy tickets in advance, it's $10. At the door, it's $15.
And leading on to that, the National Honor Society will also be selling flowers outside the theater before every showing.
And finally, the ADL is running their No Place for Hate program again this year for the juniors. That will be April 2nd. It's an all-day assembly for the juniors, and it's basically just to spread awareness of the switch from high school to college and then from college to the work environment and how discrimination will always be a factor, but how to fight against it.
And with that, today was the last full day of winter. So tomorrow will be
It's
coming.
gonna
So with tomorrow will be coming spring, let's hope for a very fast and warm school.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with the board's permission, we're good to go. Okay, I need a motion that the board enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing a written legal opinion pertaining to the status and response to school-based parent complaints, and to invite into the session Ms. Alicia DeCorpio, Ms. Elma Baldelli, and Attorney Michael McKeon.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor? And thank you. Okay, thank you for your patience, everybody. He'll join us. Okay, moving on to the approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the following Board of Education meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes, February 26, 2019.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor? And one abstention. And moving on to the, well, acting superintendent's report.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so just wanted to mention that parent conferences were held on March 13th and 14th. We had a full day of conferences. For the first time, we ran the March conferences on the 14th from 1 to 8. Thank you again to the PTO for sponsoring the dinner for the teachers. I'm sure they greatly appreciated that. We had a pretty decent turnout of parents who came to hear about their child's progress and how they're going along and how they can help support kids prior to the end of the year with us. Read Across America took place at Northville and Hill and Plain. I was excited to have the opportunity to read tech class at Northville, and I saw many board members there and community members. It was a really nice time, so that was a wonderful experience. And I've been very busy meeting with each of the committees after school of teachers and administration, helping to inform decisions that'll make the district run even better. So that's all I have.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, the budget. Okay, we did pass our budget, as you know, cutting 400 and change out of our budget and moved on to the mayor's office, where another 246,000 was removed from our budget, and then the town council removed another 750, totaling $1.4 million. Where it stands in the process now is it has been passed from the town council with the $1.4 million cut to the Board of Finance. And to my knowledge, the Board of Finance has scheduled a public hearing on April 6th at 10 a.m. That's a Saturday morning at Sarah Noble School, right here in the cafeteria. So just so that you are aware of that. And after their deliberations, they'll have a meeting and make their decision where they can add monies back to our budget, or they can delete further funds from our budget. Presently, I think most of you saw an email from our search firm for superintendent, no offense.
None taken.
On the steps there, we will be meeting regularly next month with interviews and our next steps on that in finding a superintendent. The rest I'll bring to you under the CABE report. Moving on from there, facilities. Brian.
Well, seeing as everything we talked about at our facilities meeting is at the bottom of this agenda for action, we discussed the SNIS rooftop unit, which in our discussion, we has felt that it would be a good idea to replace it rather than repair it, but we'll have that discussion here tonight. We also continued to discuss the saga of the Willis oil tank, and that is an ongoing saga, as well as the roofs. And all those are at the bottom of this agenda, so we'll be discussing them later. So.
Okay, thank you. Operations, Wendy?
Yes, thank you, Brian. And the operations agenda was amended to add those items because we all felt, A, that they needed to be addressed, it had a financial component, and they were partnered with the facilities meeting, and we needed to further the conversation. So they are on for action this evening, you'll see. Along with the monthly budget reports, we have some gifts and donations, and we did go through, I'll wait until we get to that portion of the agenda because it was a lengthy meeting to open up questions on all of those that you see here this evening. So we'll approach those as we hit each one. I'll keep my report brief.
Okay, thank you. Tammy, policy?
Yes, so our meeting, pretty much the entire 45 minutes, we talked again about the graduation requirements. All the other items were moved to a future meeting. And to be very honest with you, the graduation requirements are pressing. They're very time sensitive, so we need to make sure that we get through them. And the updated, or the first review is actually in the packet. I hope everybody had a chance to kind of read through what they're looking to do with these requirements, and I will be brief, and I know that's difficult for me, but I'm going to try. But a committee of administrators and department heads met to discuss these changes to the graduation requirements. As you all know, the new legislation requires the minimum of 25 credits, beginning with our 8th grade class will be 9th graders next year, so it will affect them. The legislation clusters credits, allowing different pathways for students, and it's less prescriptive to students than what's currently happening. It allows more student individualism and choice. It also reduces the total number of credits required to align with area districts, making it easier for transfer students from districts with lower graduation requirements to graduate on time instead of choosing to transfer to adult education, which has a lower requirement, and makes our numbers look like we've got students that are dropping out. Under the new proposal, you will see that the clusters contain 9 credits in the humanities, which includes 3 in English and social studies, 1 credit of U.S. history, a half a credit of civics and modern America, and there would be additional 3 credits student choice in this area. The next cluster is 9 credits would be required in the STEM cluster, so that's no less than 3 credits in science and math, an additional 3 credits of student choice in this area. And included in the proposal is the ability for classes taken at the middle school for credits to be moved up to the high school, for math courses of Algebra 1 or higher taken at the middle school with a minimum grade of a B-. The next cluster is 2 credits in health and wellness cluster, which is physical education and health and safety. There's 1 credit of world language. This also allows for the middle school Spanish A and B to be moved up, or French A and B to be moved up as 1 credit. So there would be no more than 3 credits that could be transferred, and the minimum grade would have to be at that B-, that 80. 3 credits would be required in electives, which a mandated half credit of personal finance by state law, and then there's a mastery-based credit. So you will be looking tonight at this policy, along with policy 6141.4, which is our independent study policy, and 6172.6, which is our virtual online courses, because they do kind of align with each other. And if you have any questions, we can address it at that time. Oh, next policy meeting is April 2nd.
Okay, thank you. At advance, Eileen's not here. We'll hear from her next time. Cabe's a little busy, seeing as though this is the long session in the legislature. I'm not going to go through all the bills dealing with education right now, but we do have some interesting ones that are there. One of them is to increase our special ed reimbursement rate. That's presently in the General Assembly. We can hope that that goes somewhere. Regionalization, which probably won't affect us the way it's written right now, but it's out there. And another one that would be, in my opinion, very helpful is a bill not to cut our EFC monies during the year by the executive branch, which is what happened last year. So those are just some of them. There's many, many more out there. These are the ones that many people talk about and that we're aware of now. And moving on from there, the magnet school, again, Eileen's not here, and we look forward to hearing that next, at our next meeting. And now, discussion and possible action. I need a motion to approve Exhibit A, personnel certified, non-certified appointments, resignations, and leaves of absence as of March 19, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
David?
Thank you.
I see that there's a lot of changes, particularly people with stipends. I'm wondering if we could get a rundown on all stipends that we provide.
Are you asking for all the positions that have a stipend
So, and
attached
so
to it,
do
no
we know
matter
that-
what the category?
Right, do we know what the total amount is? Do we have that ability?
Yes.
Okay, I know I'm not looking for it tonight, but in the future.
Clarification, all schools?
Yes, it'd be good to see across the board
Okay.
what we're doing.
All schools, all areas.
All right, and I see that we made a lot of, there's been a lot going on tonight, so I'll keep it short and sweet, but I just want to keep in mind, it's part of the learning process is our athletic programs, and I want to see that we're kept apprised of what's going on and how, there's a lot of changes. So I'd like to see us kept up to date by that, but whoever's in the best position to provide us with that information in the near future.
Are you talking between board meetings?
Or at the next board meeting, wherever it's most convenient to put it, but I think, it's one of the things that I'd like to stay on top of.
Okay. Any other discussion? Those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. I need a motion to approve monthly reports, budget position dated February 28, 2019, purchase resolution D720, and request for budget transfers.
So moved.
Second.
And is there any discussion?
Some quick clarifications. Unless, Anthony, you'd like to do an overview, but the minutes really reflect the conversation. There was a question about the tech director, that position, which line item that falls in.
Yes.
As it's NBU. Can you verify that, please?
Correct. That is not in the certified, that
Correct.
is in the technology line. It is not part of the balance in the certified that shows only $111,998.
And that leads to that point that 111,000 also will possibly face an impact of $60,000.
Up from the $60,000 in that slide should be, it's about that 100 days.
The loyalty.
And sick day, loyalty
Exactly.
program to teacher.
The conversation at the board is,
Go ahead.
or at the subcommittee was basically, that line item is much smaller than last year at this point in time. So while we start to, believe it or not, already start to look at the end of the year and where we're going, next month we'll also take a look and see how the excess cost is impacted on the report, I believe.
Correct, that's
So-
not on the month, on the budget position, but there's a separate memo that went to operations about.
And while there are some other line items that look favorable, those are very volatile line items and which the numbers can change very quickly, very large, and so we are watching that. Those are my comments on the monthly reports.
Bill?
The retirees, how many folks are getting that loyalty stipend, whatever we're calling it?
Right now, it looks like 4, maybe 5.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, it was the first 50 days of their sick day, they get no reimbursement, and then from 50 to 180, they can get
It was 185.
5?
6, 5.
Okay, okay, and it's $50 each day?
$50 a day.
Okay, so I'm having trouble coming up to 60,000.
Because that was originally what we thought by who met the criteria of 20 years in the district. So
Okay.
we did just a little estimation.
That was the maximum exposure we
Okay,
thought.
so it's not going to be the 60,000
No,
as
because
of now?
almost all of them put in their letter of intent.
And then
Then
they
they
withdrew
all
it.
withdrew it.
Right.
But they did that in October,
Right.
then they withdrew
Mhm.
it in March.
Right.
So now we're down to 4 or 5.
But I'm just, it's not 60,000 we're going to be exposed to?
Not now.
Okay, thank you.
But as of the date of the reports, it was.
Right.
Exactly. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Any other questions, comments? Those in favor? That's unanimous, thank you. Gifts and donations. I need a motion to accept gifts and donations, PTO Exhibit B, in the amount of $2,170.
So moved.
Seconded by Tammy. Any discussion? Those in favor? And opposed, that's gifts and donations. I need a motion to accept gifts and donations to the Milford Diamond Club in the amount of $12,000.
So moved.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Wendy?
Question, did you reach out to the Diamond Club as I requested?
Yes, we did.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. We're grateful for their support. And that went well?
Yes, we actually had a meeting today with Keith Lipinski and I.
Works for me.
Those in favor? And opposed? Thank you. Approval of the following curriculum. I need a motion to approve the following curriculum: Advanced Creative Writing, World Literature and Culture.
So,
Faster than you type,
Any discussion? I'm glad to see that we're on track with curriculum, and we hope to stay that way.
We will.
Those in favor? Thank you. Okay. Okay, you see a policy for second review for gifts to students. And I'm going to lump this together with F, and policies for first review, graduation requirements that Tammy just spoke about, independent study, virtual online courses, college and university courses. Yes.
Graduation requirements. I would urge the board, as discussed at policy, this is huge. There's a lot coming our way. If we could all take the time to really digest what's being proposed and what changes may be coming about, it's really important to look at this. And it was a great meeting. We'll have many more, but this is something that, in all fairness, can't be reviewed, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, in one night at a board meeting. It takes some time to go through. This has a huge effect, and there is a shift here, so I would encourage people to either come to the policy, send in questions, and definitely review some of this.
Is this legislation been passed or it's proposed?
So it's still proposed.
That's what I thought,
Yeah.
okay.
But it's still sitting out there, and we do think that it is going to move forward. We have no reason not to, except that we know that there are some groups that are lobbying.
There is a
So we're watching
very
it closely.
heavy lobby against it, I know
Yeah.
for a fact.
Yeah.
So my question is, help me understand how, when we talk all the time about increasing rigor, that we are allowing up to 3 credits from junior high to be counted as high school credits. Because to me, that's watering it down a little bit.
That's a discussion we can have.
No, it's
Why can't we have it right
review
now?
right now.
Yeah, but that's a discussion that we're.
Well, I just want to know what
Yeah.
the reasoning behind it
Oh,
was. That's
okay.
what I'm asking. I want,
So we specifically chose courses that had a direct alignment with the high school curriculum. So the courses that are included in the proposal for your review would all be courses that share the same exact curriculum as the high school, so as to maintain the rigor and to ensure that we're providing the same time also to get to the end of each curriculum before, and to have the grade attached to it of at least a B minus, to ensure us that we're sending kids on with the adequate knowledge and the same rigor that they would have if they were seated at the high school.
so have we consulted colleges to see how that is going to affect acceptance? And I say that because my son took 2 years of English, or foreign language at Scotticoke, and he took 2 years at the high school, 1 year at the high school. And in college, he had to retake his foreign language because they wouldn't accept junior high credit.
Was it because we, as the sending institution, didn't offer the credit?
It was his understanding that it counted as 1 year. Now, whether that's actually the case or not, but I think it just raises the question, are colleges going to accept junior high credits, or are students going to be in that same situation where they're going to have to take more foreign language or more, whatever the classes we're offering that we're counting, Or is that a common thing that colleges are going to accept?
It is a common thing, as long as you have local control over this. So as long as the board decides that they would like to offer credit for specific courses at the middle school towards high school credit and approve the curriculum that goes along with that course, then that is what would appear on the high school transcript when they are applying to colleges, and the colleges would see that as such. So it is about that, putting that stamp on it of board approval, saying that we will issue credit for the following courses. Without that, a student can't apply and try to have those considered for credit to a university.
So was there any discussion about, and I'll ask this and then I'll turn it over to somebody else. I mean, like, what percentage of our students aren't meeting 26 credits? I mean, is there like 50%, 25%, or are there 3? I mean.
So we have with the exception of last year's graduation rate, because we had students who transferred in large numbers to Litchfield Hills, they actually didn't count in our count. Our graduation rate is quite high. It's about 92, 93, 94% year over year. When we look ahead to next year, we're slated to be at about 93%. So that tells us that the majority of our kids are acquiring 26 credits. One of the things that Mr. Shagru and I did, you have a packet, there was some information that came out of the Committee on Learning and Policy that was requested, and you can see the DERG data and the credits that are required there, but the credits earned by cohort, there's a small graph there. Over the last 2 years, we've been tracking how many kids in senior year, how many credits do they actually have heading into the second half. So what you see here is a year-over-year analysis of where students are sitting at the half-year mark in senior year, noting that they're already receiving half of the credit that they would receive for a full-year course in this data. They're still slated to get the additional 0.5 awarded to them at the end of the year prior to graduation. So if you look at what we see here, the majority of our kids have at least 22 credits at this point in the year, but the majority of kids have 24 or more in heading into the second half of senior year. So I wanted you to have that to consider.
And you see that as a problem, or?
I don't see this as a problem. I think I just wanted you to know that this was data that we analyzed when we were trying to determine the number of credits and avenues that kids could take, and avenues that the board could take in creating a policy. The front sheet, I think, would probably be most helpful to the board. This is something called a high leverage policy analysis. Because there are so many policies that are involved and touch the graduation requirement policy, I wanted you to see the process that both Mr. Shagru and I went through with the department chairs to piece together all of the existing policies, thinking about and considering impact on existing structures and systems, and also monetary impact. So when you take a look, you can look at all of the things that CAPS was promoting, that we know that you value as a board and that we certainly value. The evidence that the policy will be affected, there are some of the things that we looked to, some data analysis that we did, the DERG analysis, the CAPS briefs, graduation rates year over year, all the things that you're asking about. All of the values the policy will reflect. Does it conflict with other policies? So I'm guiding you here because I want to stress that although Mr. Shagru and I spent countless hours just trying to dig into the research, we know that this is a heavy lift for everyone involved, and we want your engagement. So this should help guide you to kind of see our thinking and help to frame your thinking around the proposal that we've created. This is one proposal. There are many options out there. We've looked at what other schools are doing. We feel that at the point where we are right now in time, that creating the pathways that we've created in the graduation policy 6146, that can move forward if we have board agreement and engagement, that's what you'd like to do, that portion of the policy can move ahead, and then we could take some more time to dig into the mastery-based credit. Excuse me. In 6146, our main emphasis is really on looking at what students are really preparing for. We hear you saying a lot about college and career, or just career, work readiness. So on the policy, Ms. Silverman did a nice job of marking up and doing an overlay of proposal versus what's already in existence. So you can see that if you're going to go to a two-year college or going to take a career-ready pathway because that's what you know you want to pursue, then you would then take a look at and follow the clusters that we've prescribed below. If you want to go on to a four-year college or a highly competitive college pathway, then you could ramp up the amount of English courses that you're taking, the amount of math. And if you have a change of heart, let's say you started off on the two-year college and career pathway, and by junior year, you're thinking, I may want to do something different than what I originally proposed, you would still have time to make up the credits. So this was really how we were basing our pathways to ensure that no matter what university you applied for, whether it be two-year, four-year, or if you wanted to go out into the workforce, that you had a pathway to get there in addition to the mastery-based credit requirement, which has an internship possibility, more of an independent practice type of work that you could do as a student that's vested in your interests.
So how is this not tracking kids?
So it would be very difficult to do any sort of tracking because this would be on the individual decision of the student and their family. What it's doing is it's providing them a lot of options within the electives to pursue other items outside of English 1, 2, and 3 that are areas of interest.
Okay, at first glance, I see this as very much tracking. I mean, okay, you're going to college, you're going to a four-year college, I don't know. I have to tell you, I had some really concerns about this. I don't know, it seems like we swing from one end to the other. You know, last year, everybody needed to take 16 AP classes, and this year you can count 3 credits from junior high. That to me is, you know, we're talking on both sides of our mouth. And maybe it's just me, I don't have a full understanding of what you're proposing. I'm also a little hesitant to make drastic changes when this hasn't even passed legislation. So, you know, I'll take this and digest it, but I can tell you, I'm probably going to request some information, and I'm probably going to have some additional questions.
That's fine. And again, we're looking for engagement. We're not looking for you to say, this is the path we want to go down. We just want you to see kind of through our analysis, when we looked at other districts and what a possibility could be, we promised that we would mock something up so you weren't starting from scratch. This will allow you to take out parts that you're not comfortable with and rethink other sections that are more in line with your vision for the graduation requirements.
I agree. I had expressed this at policy that I wasn't quite on board. This was a lot, and I had a lot of concerns over this. I appreciate the work put into this. It's evident. I know that this didn't happen overnight. This just kind of came up on us very quickly. But as Ms. Chastain says, we're not quite through the legislation yet, but we should be taking a look at this, and that's why I wanted board members to have a special attention to this, that we all need to, you know, weigh in and see what we're comfortable with. This is a huge, whatever we adopt, if we make modifications, can be a large shift from where we've been, and that may not be a bad thing, but we all need to be in the game on this, so I appreciate it, but I also have some concerns on some of this, and I'll come back to you on that.
Sure.
Yeah, I did have a concern too, and that's with the personal finance. I would strongly recommend, you know,
It's in there.
it's in there, it's buried in
It's in
there.
there.
But,
It's a requirement.
It's required by state law.
It's there, you have to take it.
I read the one up, okay, it's different, yeah, okay. And then to have the mastery-based one credit clearly defined, what they are, what they look like.
We have that.
Yeah. Andy?
Just another quick question. So, you know, I'm with Wendy. I know that a lot of work went into this, and I appreciate it. Was there any student or parent input? Because I think sometimes we lose sight. Those are our end customers. Those are our end users. And so I think it's critical when we are making a drastic change, you know, one, we have to obviously adhere to the law, but two, are we serving our end user? And I think sometimes we forget that in our component. So was there any parent or student input?
Not yet, because it's not up to Mr. Shagru and I to make the determination of what the graduation requirements will be. That's what there really should be a lot of engagement. We're looking for, we could survey. If we had, we don't know how much time we have, but we could certainly do some focus groups and get more information. This really is part of some larger work that'll be happening in district, specifically sometime before we go through NEASC accreditation. They've changed their standards, and they're in direct alignment to the graduation policy that we're proposing here and that other districts are proposing in line with that NEASC accreditation process, because they're going through it at the same time. And there's something called Vision of the Graduate Work, which brings in.
I'm very well aware of it.
Yeah, which brings in all of the different viewpoints and what everyone believes should be the work that students leave high school and knowledge with. So this, unfortunately, because the possible timing of it has not given us the time to really dig into it.
Right, and I understand what you're saying, but I think we could ask students now, current students, especially
We can
the
do that.
graduating class,
Yeah.
how could we have better served you? What else would you have liked to see,
Mhm.
and kind of keep that in mind as we go forward. Okay, thank you.
We could even survey the existing seniors if you'd like us to and bring back that data.
Yeah, I think I would like to
That would be
see,
helpful.
and parents too.
Any other questions or comments on the policies for reviews? Okay, moving on. Rooftop unit. I need a motion to approve the replacement of the SNIS rooftop unit in the amount of $37,020.98 through the U.S. Communities Purchasing Agreement and to request the amount from capital reserve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can I speak to that?
Absolutely.
Basically, this was brought up at facilities, it was brought up at operations. Just a very quick overview. The consensus between the two committees was, rather than do a Band-Aid repair, would be to do a replace and to ask for this to come from our capital reserve. This item, I believe, was identified in the budget that we had. It didn't make the cut. And one of the actions that this board took unanimously was that we would look at those line item capital expenditures, if we could, on an individual basis and do it the old-fashioned way, if you will, and bring it before council and Board of Finance and on the need basis. So that's why we're here this evening. You can certainly read the minutes. It's very clear that this unit needs to be repaired or replaced sooner rather than later. And the goal was, by the July 1, so we're right around there. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that's my comment.
All right, those in favor? And opposed? Thank you. Oil tanks. I need a motion to approve change order number 1 and send it to the town finance director and mayor for signature.
How many motions do you have on that?
I have 2.
Okay.
We can combine them if you would like.
It's okay. No,
I have another motion coming up. if
no,
I
I'm
may.
good. So this is the change order?
For 3,000.
For 3,000.
I believe so. Anthony?
Yes.
Yep.
And that change order will, should the board go ahead and do that, that'll ultimately be signed off by the town, correct?
Correct, and we revised it since operations to show the 2 separate accounts.
Great.
that it was pulled from.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments on that motion for 3,000?
Yeah, there was no first.
There was, nobody.
Oh,
Oh, I apologize, so
Yeah.
moved.
Second.
any further discussion? Those in favor? And thank you. And the second motion pertaining to the oil tanks? I need a motion to approve change order number 2 and to request that amount from capital reserve.
How much?
Second.
I'll move it, and Angie seconds it. Tammy's question, how much?
Is that the 97,000?
89,170.
The amount on change order number 2, that's provided in your packet, is $89,170. That's like on page 10 and 14 on the revised memo that was sent out.
Go ahead.
That's okay. I'd like to make a motion, I'd like to amend that motion to the amount that the motion read with the dollar amount not to exceed $100,000. And if I get a second on that amendment, I'd like to speak to it.
I'll second.
Okay. So, as you can see from the paperwork here, we have itemized expenditures that we're still working through. I think, and depending on how this vote will go this evening, we pretty much know that this tank needs to be completed, it needs to be paid for, and we're requesting that that be done out of our capital reserve. That the town portion has now been taken care of, and there has been an overage in this arena, and that the board be responsible for that overage and take care of it out of our capital reserve. We currently have $727,000 or thereabouts in our capital reserve, and hopefully when the security grant money comes in, we'll see a deposit. We've been following that, and I will continue to follow that, to be deposited into our capital reserve. Not everything was done perfectly on this case. I think the board needs to pay it, and I don't want to personally have to go back to capital reserve requests 2 and 3 times over every time a dollar amount comes in. We should do it in one shot, go through the bills, make sure they are what they are, and we're confident that it would be in this arena, but we don't want to put in a dollar amount less than what we think it's going to be, only to have to go back and back and back again. So this is a safety precaution.
So can I ask so are we withdrawing our request from the town? Because we went before the town on this. So are we now just letting it go, or are we actually making a formal withdrawal to the town that we will not be asking them to pursue this cost?
The board didn't take any action on this.
So we just won't be going back before them?
And when we went before the board, we went to explain the dollar amounts. They took no action. And if the board takes action this evening, that is the board's action, that we're basically going to pick up the tab for this. And which is really a great point, Tammy, here, because we have a time issue here. You know, we need to finish this, and unfortunately, it's run over, it's on us, and it's our responsibility to pay that bill and move on and go through these and make sure that we've done the best that we can, but there you go.
John?
I have to,
Disagree?
no,
Oh.
agree.
Oh. That camera rolling.
This is on us, and this is our mistakes, our problems, and we have to own it. And I think that goes a long way with the town and the council saying, listen, we're gonna step up and fix our problems here.
So we're voting on an amendment, folks.
And what's the amendment again?
The motion is amended.
Oh, we did amend.
can-
Can we read back the amended motion, please?
To approve
No more than,
a request for no more than $100,000 from capital reserve for the purpose of Willis Oil Tank funding.
Okay. All right, those in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you, everybody. In items of information and discussion, we have field trip report, excess cost, mastery-based credit, and, well, budget update. I think we're pretty much there. Angie?
I just wanted to, did you want to go?
I just wanted to say, did we skip the roofs? Because
Oh, yeah, we did.
Way to go, Brian.
I'm awake.
wait a
It's
second.
way past
Brian.
my bedtime, but I'm awake.
Gonna let those just
You're not gonna
slide.
get to bed any earlier now.
Okay.
So are we going back to the roofs?
Yeah.
No, but I have to.
Our
This is my
roofs.
committee.
Okay,
Is there a motion on the roofs?
there is no motion on the roofs.
Okay.
Let me try to update as best I can.
Is it on over?
Yeah.
Um,
right here.
The information on the roofs, and the roofs that we're talking about are Sarah Noble, as well as the high school from the damage last May, to actually fix the repairs we have now. We have forwarded what information we do have to the mayor's office for town council to take a look at, in the hopes of bonding, yes.
We received an email from a board member. What was that?
That was, you'd have to ask the individual.
Okay, so that had no bearing on anything else,
No.
right? Okay, thank you. I was a little confused.
Yeah, no, that has nothing
Okay.
to do with,
Got it.
that was, I believe, an individual's
independent
Okay.
quest? Okay, thank you.
So there's no action on this, and basically,
No.
the conversation at the roofs at facilities really went about, and at operations, some of the repairs that we're going through right now. That's not part of this process. You're looking
Right.
at the larger conversation of the bonding of these roofs.
Correct.
That anything that we're doing repair right now, we've already addressed in subcommittee.
Correct.
We're pretty fair on that. And it's my understanding that we have submitted all the information that we've been requested to.
Correct.
To the town.
Correct.
And that we're striving for a bonding cycle, and
Mm-hmm.
we're waiting to hear what they're gonna be doing.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions on roofs?
Can I ask where we are in the steps with the town? Like, what is, do we have meetings lined up to decide, to figure out what they are planning or what they're gonna bond? I know that they're going in April, right?
Well, to my knowledge, the town was going to create a building committee to investigate the various plans that we do have, the various ideas for fixing our roofs, as well as overseeing the construction of said roofs. So, where it's at, town hall.
So, do
Yep.
we have an update on that? Because I spoke actually with the mayor,
Mm-hmm.
and he was on track to do the bonding. So my understanding is the bonding deadline is April, the actual bonding process
Mhm.
isn't until July, but once it's approved through town council, we can borrow against the promised money. It was also my understanding that the roofs were not going to be part of the building committee, that's a different issue going forward, that the roofs were gonna be taken care of prior to that. And he was supposed to call Kevin last week, and that did not
Well, I
happen.
guess we'll clarify all
So I
this.
think we need to, because my understanding, they were waiting on us to submit a proposal for Sarah Noble.
We have.
And then they were getting the one for the high school for the double shingle.
Correct,
Okay, so it sounds like we kind of have moved a little.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have the other proposals for the high school roof as well.
They have all the proposals on behalf of the board,
Right.
because I've seen, you
Yep.
know,
Yep, they
we
are.
verified that. But I think that having this conversation, obviously, you know, and revisiting it, time is running out. We need to stay on the same page and keep this conversation visible and make sure that what, quote, they have or they need, they have, and vice versa. So I don't know about the building committee, if it's been designated for project. I know that they're set to bring it forward in April of who's on the building committee. I don't know if it was specified per project, because I was there at town council when that conversation took place. So I can't speak to that. I don't even know which roof, how many roofs they plan on bonding, because we are dealing with basically 2 roofs. So we don't have a lot of that information, but I agree with you. We need to have that information.
Yeah, we have sent
And-
what's
And I
been asked.
think, I think the thing we need to stress is, for student safety, we don't want to be doing this roof in September.
No,
So, we need to get this done and. get
that
this-
has
so
been
we able to do
previously
that done for the
communicated,
summer.
but we can reiterate it.
And both of these roofs were in our capital plan. We've just changed the order a
Yes.
little bit based on some of these. This is no surprise to the town of New Milford.
Mhm.
They've been there, we knew it, it's been in our plans. This is absolutely no surprise. The order may be a different discussion, and the timing on the funding, we want to make sure we're in there. But this is of no surprise that these roofs, it's time to have them, taken a look at, so.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. We'll try again. Items for information and discussion, field trip? Field trip?
Field trip.
Field trip.
I just wanted to call attention to a few of the field trips and give kudos to whomever planned them. The play preview at Sarah Noble, I think that is so important
yeah,
to get our
yeah.
older kids down to the
Mhm.
younger grades and just give them those role models. I also love the field trip. Accounting is my major, although I would not have personally signed up for that one. I love that we're offering those options for students. And then, my major was LN. And then, the New York Botanical Gardens. I've always thought that we don't utilize New York enough. I mean, we are so close to that, and I know it's expensive to go, but you know, some of those kids are never gonna get down there if we don't take them. And so I oftentimes wonder why we don't utilize that so much more, so I'm thrilled to see that on there.
I took my kids to the botanical gardens this year, and it was the best field trip I've
job.
ever taken
Awesome.
them on. I mean, they do a tremendous job at botanical gardens.
Good.
Okay, excess cost?
Yeah, so the memo that was supplied as part of the packet was done up to date, but not matching the budget position, because the budget position listing you have in front of you as part of this board meeting is only through February 28th. So what we did here was we plotted the payment received in May, which is one of two payments we received during any given fiscal year, and projected, the February payment that we received, and projected out the May payment using the same reimbursement percentages split between two and past years. So as you can see, we're still projecting a budget shortfall in 18-19 on the amount we're going to get back on excess cost. There was discussion at Operations Subcommittee with Mrs. Olson as well, and some of the offsets to that are found in our operating budget in the less costs we have for tuition, but that's at the moment.
At the moment, that was a.
That dollar amount can change, but there's an inverse relationship between the amount we put out for placement, tuition and transportation related versus what we get back reimbursement-wise. So we're still projecting out a shortfall for this year, and that's based on the 70% reimbursement rate. Next year, we're changing it down to 68%, but if this continues to decline, we got to look at that percentage further. But as Chairman Lawson mentioned, there are different motions in the legislature with changes to ECS, excess cost funding that may or may not come to fruition. This is a constant discussion going on.
Thank you. Any other questions? And back to our mastery-based credit. This is something that you're not bound to comment or question now. There's a lot on there, and I'd encourage you to pursue your answers through the curriculum office. And if you do have a question, if you share it with the rest of us, because we probably have the same one, or may have the same one, and would like to know the answers on that. Okay. And budget update, as I said, where we're at right now in my opening remarks, it's in the process right now, going to the Board of Finance, with the combined mayor's cut of 246, the town council's cut of 750,000, and ours of 400,000. That is the budget that
That
is.
basically results in a 1%.
It is a 1% increase year to year, or $600,000, and I think many of you are acutely aware that amount does not cover our contractual
Our insurance
obligations.
alone is $327,000.
It is,
thereabouts, so.
and throw in utilities, and we've probably already exceeded that amount.
So the Board of Finance meeting is on
April
April
6th?
April 6th at 10 o'clock in the morning at
That's a
Sarah
Saturday,
Noble.
that's correct.
And I would encourage people to, regardless of how you feel, please come out and be a part of the process.
Yes, I think I'd have to commend the Board of Finance. I think they did a good job on offering something new for the citizens on a Saturday versus a weekday evening when many of us have obligations, or quite frankly, are a little bit exhausted. Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, I think that is just the public hearing, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken, and there would be no
Not the
motions.
deliberations.
Right.
However, that's where you have a chance for public input. Joe?
You know, most of you have known my positions over the years that I've been here back and forth. But this year, I will say that the cuts suggested were so significant. And as I get a little older, my appreciation for what we try to accomplish here has gotten better. So I took it upon myself to speak up. Counter to my affiliations. And on behalf of the Board of Ed and the budget, this is significant. There's a lot we accomplished, and I think what hit me the most was the 10-year layout and a slide to the council. Our budget, I mean, on average is up 0.5% over a 10-year period. I give a lot of credit to what the administrators here and our teachers try to accomplish with what we do. It seems to become more and more of a struggle for us every year. It's unfortunate.
Well, I would like to say, Joe, that this board in particular, I'm a little biased in as much as we scrutinize this year's budget, and I think all of us gave up something very dear to us in that budget, in the spirit of making a palatable budget for the whole town. And the proof of that, I would offer, is a 9-0 vote on that budget. So for Board of Education Appreciation Month, I appreciate that. Thank you.
We need to,
Angie?
go ahead, Angie.
I was just going to say, you know, I'm not one who thinks that increased spending results in a better education. But I will say, you know, and like Joe said, you know, I voted down the last two budgets because I felt like there were things in there that we were not being fiscally responsible. This one I did not feel that way. I feel like everything was in that budget we needed. And really there was not much room to cut. Having said that, I also want to say, you know, you read on Facebook all these people, well, they should cut, they should cut. Well, what are your cuts? You know, come and tell us what your cuts are. If you see somewhere in the budget that we missed and there's $100,000 we can save, by all means, come and show us where it is. But just to arbitrarily say, oh, they should cut, that's nonsense. Come to these schools, come to the play, come and see what we do in here.
Well, I know you've invited.
I invite everybody.
All the time.
Come to the schools.
Right, right.
Wendy?
Yeah, I think you said it best, David, that this was a unanimous vote, which did not come easy. There were a lot of give and take. It was a shocking number based on all that we've been through over the years, and quite frankly, I've been asked point blank. You know, you're good with the numbers, sort of thing. If I thought that we had $1 million that we could sit and take out of this budget, I'd be the first to make the motion. It's just not here. So people need to understand what the ramifications are. They also would like to call attention to the fact that we all live in this town, we're all taxpayers, we work with this town, but it would be great if the Board of Education came in and had $800,000 of insurance forgiveness, you know, that we got to take right off our operational budget. We don't have that. So we don't have while we have some of the same issues that I'm also seeing on social media, you know, contracts. That's correct. You know, we have contractual obligations, no different than the town. We're all in this together. So I thought it was very difficult to hear those numbers. And we're going to have to make some difficult decisions, and I hope it doesn't come to that. And I do hope that we can plead our case and see where we go from there, because there's, as they say, there's no more rabbits in the hat. That's it.
Well,
so people need to know.
There's no hat.
As I said, yes.
So.
A motion we adjourn.
Pardon me? Wait a minute, let me see if I
That's it.
want to make sure I don't skip anything here. I need a motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Any seconds? Those in favor? Thank you.